Tim Scott gets a C. The reason why he gets a C is because he was super preachy. He's a nice guy, and I think that overall he's got good policy, and he's just a good Christian guy. But he's so preachy and politician-y about everything he does. He most often does not answer the question that was asked him, and I think most people just are like so bored when he's speaking. I mean, I was sitting there watching the debate, trying to take notes for this video. And I'm listening to Tim Scott, and every time he comes up, I'm like, I'm not writing anything down. Like, there's just nothing of substance to write down. I just don't understand how he goes up there and he thinks that he's distinguishing himself from the candidates around him. Tim Scott also said he would cancel visa students who were saying death to Israel and supporting Hamas. And this is, again, I support, and I will say that was probably the best thing he said all night, just because of how brutal he was with that. And then, of course, he talked about where federal spending was concerned in these universities and clubs that are supporting these things. No federal funding should be spent. So that was kind of his best take of the night. But overall, I was super bored the whole time. I do want to talk about our second sponsor for this podcast, Smart Labels. Smart Labels is a new way to organize all those crazy bins that you have in your house. It's a product that me and my wife love so much, especially as we come into the Thanksgiving and Christmas season and you're trying to put away those Halloween decorations, get out some of those new fall decorations and even Christmas decorations. Here's how Smart Labels works. So first, you go on qrsmartlabels.com, you buy some Smart Labels, very affordable. You then download the Smart Labels app. It's free to download. You can then use your Smart Labels and put them on the containers that you want. So say you have a container of Christmas decorations, you can then put the Smart Label on that decoration, and using the app, you can scan your Smart Label, make a name for this bin, a photo of where that bin goes, a location. You can even type in it's in the basement. And then you can type in every single item that you put in that container. That way, that later when you're trying to find where that is next year, you can literally search Christmas lights and it will tell you the exact location. You have a picture of it and you'll know exactly what the QR code looks like. They're all kind of color coded. That way, you're not having to spend hours and hours sifting through bins looking for that one special item. He did have a fairly good response about, this was actually a very good moment. I will give him credit for this. The NBC host, and this was actually very illuminating for me to watch. But essentially, the NBC host asks Tim Scott what he's going to do day one to bring down gas prices and to fix the economy. And Tim Scott talks about how he's going to open the pipelines and he's going to essentially frack in the United States and open up more leases for fracking. And the NBC host kind of stops him and he said, okay, I'll give you another chance to answer my question, but I'm talking about day one. What are you going to do that's going to affect the economy? And Tim Scott says, because what the NBC host said was, what you're talking about right now is not going to have short-term consequences. In the long term, that might help. But obviously, if you start fracking, it's not going to immediately get into the economy. And Tim Scott stops him and he goes, no, you're totally wrong. This will affect the economy immediately because once there's a president in place that inspires confidence in the oil industry and in the energy industry, the prices will immediately come down because there will be immediately greater investment into these things. And you could see the NBC host like that had never occurred to him. This concept, this is a very basic economic principle of confidence in a marketplace. He had never considered this, and it's very telling, I think, for where Democrats and liberals are at right now, where they just don't have this concept of it goes back to, I don't know if you've seen this video, but in the State of the Union address by Joe Biden, he gets up there and he basically starts talking about the awesome things going on in energy. And Republicans started heckling him. And he goes, and we're moving towards green energy. He's like, and don't worry, we're not cutting out oil immediately. It will be 5 to 10 years before we cut out oil. And the Republicans immediately just erupt in the most mocking laughter in the world because Joe Biden cannot comprehend the fact that him saying that drives gas prices up. He's literally telling people, oh, by the way, your investment will be useless in 5 to 10 years. And he doesn't understand that that's why the economy is the way it is. And so, again, Democrats don't understand this principle. That was Tim Scott's best thing of the night, but he didn't distinguish himself in the slightest because of it. And for that reason, he gets a C. Of course, an F if you actually bring Donald Trump into the equation. Now, really quick, guys, I want to talk about the last sponsor for this podcast. It is Two Beards. Now, you might have noticed it's kind of hard to see on the camera, or maybe not on the camera either, because I'm a young guy and it's a struggle. You can see on the neck a little bit, but it is no shave November. And this November, I have partnered with Two Beards Trading Post because they have really fantastic products for both your beard and your body. They have beard oils. It smells amazing. It's like the most fresh smell ever. You'll have to go check out their website. They have some pretty enjoyable slogans on it. So I'm not going to say them over the air right now, but you're welcome to go check them out at twobeards.club. Again, they have stuff for your beard, your body. They make all their products in extremely low doses. That way they're able to maintain the high quality, and it's all natural as well. So if you're wanting to get a really great gift for anyone in your family that has a beard, definitely go check them out. They have the most affordable but also high quality beard oil and butter and cream that I've ever seen. And then, of course, even if you don't have a beard, they have fantastic stuff for men and women, ranging from soap to lotion to deodorant. Again, that's at twobeards.club. Awesome. Last one, Chris Christie. And then I'm going to give kind of my overall thoughts of the debate. Chris Christie gets a C-. I'm not even going to talk about him for very long. He is a better speaker than I gave him credit for before. He's a very good speaker. He looked very comfortable up there, and he answered the questions very directly, and I give him credit for that. But he did not distinguish himself in the slightest, and he's just incredibly milquetoast, classic Republican. And I just don't see why and then again, this will kind of be, I guess, my segue into my overall thoughts. I don't understand how he or anybody on the stage last night could actually think that what they were doing was going to change the polling. Like, how could you? When Donald Trump is 50 points up, how could you just go to the debate, do the same thing that you did at the other two debates and didn't see the poll increase and think to yourself, yeah, the poll's going to go up for me right now? I don't understand it. And so my only conclusion could be, because these guys are not idiots and they have large teams behind them, my only conclusion could be is that a few of them are running for VP, mostly Nikki Haley and Tim Scott, and the other ones are running for 2028. I actually don't understand what Chris Christie is doing, because I don't think he's running for either. I don't understand what he's doing at all. But at least for Vivek and Ron, probably they're running for 2028. But man, just drop out already. Like, gosh, it costs money to run a campaign. It's probably really hard work. Like, you're not going to win. You didn't do anything to deserve a win on Wednesday. And so, again, I don't know what they were doing up there. I thought NBC actually did a really good job of hosting this debate. The third moderator wasn't as good as the other ones, but I will say this. There's pros and cons to not letting the debaters talk to each other. Once debaters kind of for a brief moment were able to talk to each other, it was really good, because how are you supposed to scrutinize each other if you're not allowed to talk to each other? That's what's hard, is like the NBC moderator goes through and they ask everyone these questions, and there's usually some variation in their answers, but you kind of need someone like Vivek Ramaswamy, who's really smart, to start poking holes in their theories. And NBC didn't give us that opportunity, since they put the rule in place saying that they would lose questions if they interacted with each other. And so again, they got through a lot of questions, but the interaction kind of shows us who these candidates really are and helps. I mean, they have the most incentive to poke holes in each other's logic, not the NBC hosts. And so I think, you got to let them talk to each other a little bit. There were no ads in this event. That's the best thing that happened on Wednesday. There were like 2 ads in the whole event. So we just kind of got to watch a debate, and Vivek had some really fantastic moments. And so, like I said, I'm going to make a video just compiling all those moments together, because that was really good. That was really the only thing that made the debate entertaining. But the final verdict is it was an F for all of them. They did not distinguish themselves. There is zero chance, in my opinion, that any of them will get the Republican nominee, and that it will be Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. And as it stands, it looks like Trump is going to be our next president,